Did you know that there's something that every one of us all have in common? Well, to be fair, there's probably several, but if I asked you to guess what I was about to say, chances are you would never get this right. The thing that I'm talking about that we all have in common is stuff. I'm talking about all the things that we have accumulated over time. It's all the stuff that fills up our basements and our garages and all of those storage units that you pay for every single month. Now, we all do this. We all hold on to things that we may need someday. Think about what you're storing right now that you said to yourself, I can't throw this away. I may need it again someday. And I think here's the reality for most of us, someday never comes. Believe it or not, this is actually more common than you may think. Did you know that 25% of people with a two-car garage, they don't have room to park the cars inside of the garage? They have so much stuff that they cannot fit their cars in their two-car garage. Only 32% of people have room to park even one vehicle. In the United States, there are over 50,000 storage facilities. I can remember years ago when storage facilities just began taking off and you began to see them everywhere. I know those people have made so much money. 50,000 storage facilities across the United States. Now, let me just show you how many that is. That's more than 5 times the number of Starbucks locations. So think about how many Starbucks that you see going across town. There are 5 times the number of that in storage buildings. In fact, there's approximately 7.3 square feet of self-storage space for every person in the country. So what does that mean? That means that theoretically, every American could stand under the total canopy of self-storage roofing all at the same time. That's how much excess stuff that we accumulate. Now, I recognize that we don't just collect stuff. We do it because we've become attached to it. See, we assign meaning to the things that we have. That treadmill that's in your garage, we all know that's not just gym equipment. We know that that's really the hope that one day, someday, you're going to finally become a runner. Or one day, someday, you're going to get down there, you're going to run, and you're going to work off those pounds that you've been talking about. That broken chair that you put in the attic, we know that's not just junk, that's a project. That's the project that you're going to get to when life slows down just a little bit. But as the piles grow, so does the burden. Think about it. Sometimes the clutter that's in your physical spaces, they really mirror the clutter that's in our minds. Many of us, we have old dreams. We have unfinished plans. We have outdated strategies. All of these things are taking up space that could be used for something better. But what if someone saw what most of us consider as a problem as an opportunity? Today, we're going to learn from the story of Brian Scudamore, who saw a problem and then he turned it into a multi-million-dollar company. Today, we're going to learn to see the potential where other people see problems. So welcome to the Mind Your Business podcast, the podcast for whatever business is on your mind. Let's get started.
Well, that's excellent.
Well, thank you for joining me for another episode of the Mind Your Business podcast. Hey, if you're new to this, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to like, subscribe, share, leave a review, because this helps us to add as much value to as many people as possible. In 1989, the Berlin Wall was falling. Batman and the Little Mermaid were playing in theaters, and Brian Scudamore was about to have an idea that was going to change his life forever. See, he was sitting in a McDonald's drive-thru. How many good ideas have you had sitting in the McDonald's drive-thru? But this day, as he sat in the drive-thru waiting on his order, he saw an old junk truck with a hand-painted sign advertising a junk removal service. Now, most of us probably wouldn't have given it a second thought. It makes me think about the old Sanford & Son show. That's as far as I would have gotten. But this, for Brian, it was a light bulb moment. He saw an opportunity that was about to change his life. But at the time, he only had $700 to his name. But he took that $700, believing in what he saw in that moment, that light bulb, life-changing moment, and he bought a pickup truck and started hauling away junk for people in the Vancouver area. He started a new business and he called it the Rubbish Boys. See, his approach was a little different though, because he presented his business as a professional, friendly, and reliable service. Now, in the junk service, when you have old pickup trucks and hand-painted signs, this was something that just didn't exist in the junk removal business at that time. He differentiated himself. He showed up in clean uniforms. He put a focus on customer service, and before he knew it, he had so much work that he could barely keep up. Now, Brian eventually rebranded the company, and you're probably going to recognize this name, 1-800-GOT-JUNK. Have you even seen, some of you have used that service, you've seen their trucks or you've seen their commercial. 1-800-GOT-JUNK, which by the way, the name alone was brilliant. And then over time, Brian has continued to grow his business through the franchising world. But today, his junk business, 1-800-GOT-JUNK, is operating, listen to this, in over 150 locations in 3 different countries and brings in hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. And it all started with one guy who saw what other people didn't. But here's what I love most about this story, is that Brian's story is not just about junk. It's really all about perspective. Every one of our lives is mirrored through his experience. What he saw is what I want us to tap into. See, where most people saw garbage, Brian saw gold. Where others saw inconvenience, he saw innovation. And I believe that same shift in perspective can change not only your business, but it can also change your life. I believe that there are incredible opportunities in front of every single one of us every single day. There's moments for this innovation. There's moments for this opportunity. There's moments for life change. There's moments for purpose. There's moments for passion. If only we could learn to see the potential instead of seeing the problems. Maybe you're facing a problem in your business or it's in your organization and it just seems right now that it's impossible to solve and you've almost given up. Maybe you're struggling to scale your business, to take it to the next level, to go beyond where you are right now. Maybe the market that you're in, it's crowded and you're doing your best. You're trying to stand out. You're trying to rise above and get some attention. Or maybe you're just trying to figure out whatever the next right move may be. But the reality is this, is that the answers don't always come from chasing the newest trend or reinventing the wheel. Many of us, when we find ourselves feeling like we're stuck, feeling like we're drowning in whatever the problem is, we think we've got to follow the trend. We've got to watch what everyone else is doing, and we have to follow their lead. We need to do it just like they're doing, or we're going to get left behind. Or we think we have to start all over and do something that no one else has done. See, the real answers, it's not always in the reinvention. It's not always in chasing the newest trend. Sometimes the answers come from seeing something that no one else sees. Think about it. Is there something right now that's in your industry or that's in your workspace, in your place of employment, or in your daily life that's a frustration to people? Just take inventory for just a moment. Maybe take a list and just say, what are the top 5 things that are frustrating me or that I feel like are holding me back? Something that's maybe inefficient, maybe something's outdated, or there's just something plain annoying about the process that you're in. Maybe it's a gap that no one has thought to fill, or maybe it's a service that could be done better. That spark or that idea. Now, I know what you're thinking. If it were that obvious, wouldn't someone else have already done it? If it was that easy, someone else would have already come up with the answer. But the truth is, sometimes opportunities that will change the game are hidden in plain sight. They're right there in front of us. They're hiding in your routine. They're hiding in the conversations that you're having, or even in the complaints that you're complaining every single day. You've probably said it yourself. There has got to be a better way to do this. I have said that many times in my life, in many different seasons of frustrations, when I was trying to get to the next level or we were trying to make it better, become more efficient. There has to be a better way to do this. But that phrase alone is a gold mine. That sentence is a spark. And I want to encourage you, when you find yourself saying there has got to be a better way, don't ignore it. Take time to investigate that. Begin to explore it and see what is it that we can do that will make this better. What if the very thing that you've been overlooking is actually your next big opportunity? When you find yourself saying there has got to be a better way, what is it that we're missing? What is it that we need to do to be able to move forward? What if the key to your success isn't just doing something new, but it's in doing something better? Don't overlook what could be your next big opportunity. So I want to offer 3 strategies that I believe could help you in this process. 3 things that you can employ in your life, very simple, very practical, that you can start today that I think will help you to see what no one else sees. And the first thing I would say is look where no one else is looking. Look where no one else is looking. Some of the best business ideas aren't always in the flashy industries. It's not always in the newest or the brightest or the things or trends that everyone else is doing. Think about Brian's story. Brian didn't start out with cutting edge tech or $1 billion investment. Many of us today, we're chasing AI and we got to be in that space. We got to do it. And where that's got a place, but it's not something to be worried about. Brian didn't feel like he had to go out and do something brand new. No, he just looked at an everyday problem and he thought, what could be done better? How could this be better? So instead of chasing the trends, I want to encourage you to look for the gaps that are in the market where other people aren't paying attention. He had an everyday problem. He saw something that every person struggled with. Every person is stockpiling, paying to store things, and just thought to himself, what could we do differently? Here's a practical step that I'll give you that I think can help you start taking these steps in this way. Start observing daily frustrations. Either in your own life, this could be something that you're saying there's got to be a better way, or in the lives of other people around you. And when you're hearing other people complain about something, or if you hear other people going, we've got to fix this, we've got to find a solution. Ask yourself, is there a way to simplify this? Is there a way to enhance this, make it better? Is there a way that we can improve this process? What could we do to make this better? And if you listen, you'll begin hearing people express their frustrations all around you, and that is an opportunity. Maybe it's a service that people need that no one has done yet. Maybe when you see the frustration and you think about the solution, you may say, there's a service here. There's something that we could employ, something that we could do that no one else is doing. Or maybe it's a common problem that could simply be solved in some creative way. Let me give you some examples. Take Airbnb. You've probably, chances, used Airbnb for your travels. People have had extra rooms and empty homes for decades. This is nothing new. But it took someone seeing those empty spaces, those empty rooms, and they just saw it differently. And they saw it not as just something that was common, but they saw it as an opportunity to turn it into a multi-billion-dollar business. That's one of those ideas that everyone says, why didn't I think of that? How many times have you said in your life, why didn't I think of that? Because you're not thinking about it differently. Airbnb said, we can make money with something that is common to everyone. Or even the Dollar Shave Club. They've been around for a long time selling razors, and razors have been around forever. They have a successful business selling a product that was already invented and that was already available to people. But someone saw the inconvenience of what? Overpaying for razors at the store. And they turned it into a monthly subscription model. In this case, it was convenience. Convenience is nothing new, but they took an old model, they provided convenience to it, and guess what? Convenience won. That's the kind of thinking that we're after here, that I want you to tap into. I want you to tap into the kind of thinking that is just a simple observation that can turn into smart innovation. Simple observations that can turn into smart innovation. That's how people begin to connect the dots and get creative. And then number two, I would say this: reinvent the ordinary. Reinvent the ordinary. We talked about not having to chase the trends and not having to recreate the real wheel in coming up with something completely new. But what if you were just to reinvent the ordinary? So let me explain. Like Brian, think about it. Brian didn't invent junk removal. His idea came from watching someone do what he was about to do himself. He just said, we can do it better. We're going to reinvent this process, this service, in the way that it is right now. So Brian says, I'm going to make it more professional. I'm going to make it more customer friendly, and I'm going to make it more efficient. I'm going to show up in a clean uniform. I'm going to show up in a nice vehicle. It's going to be a professional service that people can look at and say, that's a legitimate business. He didn't reinvent the industry. He just invented or reinvented the way in which it was done. So you don't always have to create something brand new. Sometimes the biggest opportunities just simply come from improving something that already exists. So here's a practical step to help you do this. I want you to look at existing businesses or other organizations and just ask this question: how could this be done better? So identify, maybe even in your own organization, whatever it is that you do. If it's service work, if it's production, whatever you do in your organization, say, how could we do what we do and do it better? You may find there's an area of your customer service. Maybe it's your branding. Maybe it's the technology that's employed. Maybe it's the convenience factor. See, small improvements can really lead to big success. So just ask yourself and employ it to your atmosphere or your environment. How could this be done better? Starbucks is a great example of this. Starbucks didn't invent coffee, but they did reinvent the way people experienced it. See, they didn't just sell coffee, they sold an atmosphere. Starbucks sold a lifestyle. They sold a place for people to gather and for community. I am not a coffee drinker. I do not even like the taste of coffee, and it frustrates my wife. She loves coffee. She makes it every way coffee could be made. But when it comes to an environment like sitting in a Starbucks, I don't mind going and being in Starbucks because it is an atmosphere. It is a lifestyle. It is a place for community. Starbucks just did it differently. And you don't have to overexhaust your efforts on coming up with something that's never been done before. Sometimes it's just reinventing what's already been done, but in a much better way. Another great example of this, as if Starbucks is not, but Uber. Many of us today will take an Uber. I don't need to rent a car. We'll just get an Uber. Taxis have existed forever. You may would have stood in New York City and you may have looked around, or any busy city, and said, well, we don't have room for ride sharing. We can't come up with this business. Taxis are already here. But someone saw it differently, saw a better way to do it, and Uber reinvented the way that we catch a ride today. They made it easier, they made it faster, and they made it more reliable. So just ask yourself, how could you add value to something that already exists? How can I change? How could I make it more beautiful? How could I make it more convenient? How could I make it more affordable? See, when you begin to answer these questions, when you begin to explore these thoughts, that's where the reinvention begins. Chances are you already have the complaints. You've already asked a lot of those questions. You just have to take the time to put some creativity there and reinvent the way in which it is done. And then number 3, I want you to think big, but start small. Think big, but start small. And I really think that statement alone can set a lot of people free, because a lot of people who think big think that they have to start big. And if you don't have everything to scale, then you can't start. We've probably all heard this saying, go big or go home. How many of you heard that before? Go big or go home. And there's definitely credibility in that saying. But that thought, that statement alone has caused a lot of people to wait for the perfect moment to start. Because they said, if I can't go big, I'm not even going to begin. They go home before they even start. And I don't want that to cripple you. See, people think they need a massive budget, they need a big team, or they need a perfect business plan. And so when you're waiting behind the scenes, you're sitting in your office, you're sitting at your kitchen table, and you're thinking and you're dreaming big, but you say, I don't have the budget, I don't have the people, the business plan isn't all put together. But think about Brian. Brian didn't do that. He sat in a McDonald's drive-thru. He saw an opportunity. He saw an opportunity where other people saw a problem, and he went and bought a truck with $700. The key is to start where you are with what you have and then grow from there. Let me repeat that for somebody. You need to hear this today. This is your encouragement. Start where you are with what you have and then just grow from there. So let me help you with a practical step. Don't let perfectionism hold you back. Don't let perfectionism hold you back. Today, start where you are and take a small step toward your idea. You can test it in a low-cost way. Just find an easy entry point. That could be your own version of that $700 pickup truck. Maybe it's a side hustle. Maybe it's a pilot project or just a simplified version of whatever your vision is. But take a small step forward so that you can start today. I talk about Amazon a lot on this podcast, but I just think they're one of the best examples of what it means to start in a humble beginning and then to scale to something that has literally taken over our world. Jeff Bezos started Amazon out of his garage selling books on the internet. He didn't have a massive warehouse. He didn't have a global supply chain. He just started small. And over time, he learned and he began to scale up over time. So whatever your proverbial garage is, grab your books and then just start doing it on a small scale. And when you take that first step, it's going to lead to step number 2 and step number 3. And over time, you will scale. Think about it. Even Instagram, that one of the most used apps that we have today, it started as a check-in app before it even got into photo sharing. That just goes to show that every great idea, it starts somewhere. A check-in app that eventually became what we know today as Instagram. It's not about how you start. It's that you do start. Think about that. What matters most today for you isn't how you start. It's just that you do. So you don't have to have all of the answers. You just need the courage to take the first step. Honestly, I love Brian's story, and I want to talk about it today because it just feels relatable. It feels real. It feels like something that could happen to any one of us on any given day, to be sitting in the drive-thru, to have this light bulb moment. It's really proof that with the right perspective, anything is possible. The only difference is that Brian stepped out. He saw the opportunity. He began where he was. He didn't try to reinvent the world. He just recreated something that needed a little TLC, and he just began to do it. And if you can think and see it, take the right perspective, anything really is possible. The world around us is full of problems. The world is full of problems that need to be solved. The world around it is full of opportunities, but it's also full of people just like you that have the creativity, the drive, the passion to go out and to solve these very problems. So if you can just learn to see what no one else sees, to see an opportunity where others see a problem, if you can see a challenge as a chance or a setback as a setup, you'll open doors that other people don't even know that exist. So here's my challenge. I want to challenge you today. I don't want you just to listen or watch and then walk away. I want you to answer this question for yourself. What's something in your world that other people dismiss, but you see potential in? What are some things that are in your world every single day? Maybe you've taken it to your manager. Maybe you've taken it to your boss. Maybe you've said it to your spouse. You saw a problem and you saw an opportunity, but other people may have dismissed it. You gave up on it. You thought, well, maybe I'm just not seeing it clearly. But the reality is you identified the problem and you saw the potential. That alone may be your next big opportunity. So don't miss it. Whatever the potential that you see in the problem, possibly that's your next big opportunity. Hey, that's all for today's episode. But I want to say again, if this brought value to your life, don't forget, please like, subscribe, share this with somebody. If you're listening at Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please take a moment to leave a review. That would be so helpful for me. But until next time, go mind your business, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Mind Your Business podcast.